Welcome to yoga. This is a practice that is going to help encourage a healthy menstrual cycle, especially for people with fibroids. Many people suffer from fibroids and it causes a lot of pain and discomfort, heavy bleeding, etc. So this practice is just one of several that can help kind of even out the cycle and help with the pain and suffering that fibroids in particular causes. I think there's another thing to look at with a healthy menstrual cycle, in that it's a wonderful process that a woman's body goes through to expel wastes and renew itself every month. And we need to look at the mental attitude that we have to our cycle and to recognise this and the wonderful renewal process that it entails. And if we haven't looked after ourselves during that month, junk food, loads of stress, perhaps overdoing it, perhaps a few too many party nights, the body accumulates a lot of armour or waste, and the suffering may be increased because of that, because there's much more waste to expurge, as well as just the kind of normal hormonal waste, and perhaps our liver and our internal organs can't deal with it quite so well, so we'll suffer a lot more. So we need to look at our mental attitude to our cycle, and also to remind us that the cycle is there to look after us really, and to remind us that we do need to take it easy and look after ourselves, and then our body will look after us too. So this first practice is to really open the pelvic area, to release any energy blockages and just to get us breathing into that area. One thing that women do tend to do when they're stressed in particular is to really contract everything internally, the uterus and the vagina, and we need to just learn to let go of that. So this is a very opening posture. I've used a bolster and a couple of cushions just to prop it up a little bit. So using something to the height of this, and then sitting back against it, really sit back, push back against the sacrum with the end of the bolster of support, lean right back onto it, allow the legs to come out to either side to really open through the pelvis, and then the arms can either just be resting down by the side of the bolster, palms facing up, or even better to overlap them around the back of the head, hands to opposite elbows, and just to rest here. Allowing the body to settle, feeling the body opening, feeling the back of the sacrum in contact with the bolster, adjusting for comfort. We don't want to constrict or pinch the low back, so you may need to just shuffle down or up a little bit. Closing the eyes and breathing in deeply and evenly. Trying to count for a count of 4 or 5 on each breath. So breathing in to a count of 5, breathing out to a count of 5. And as you breathe, feel the breath moving in the pelvic area, taking the breath deep into the lungs and feeling the subtle opening, expansion and spaciousness starting to happen in the pelvic area. and holding this posture for 3 or 4 minutes. Making sure the head is comfy, supported by a cushion. Feeling the chest open, the heart centre open, and feeling the spaciousness and expansion in the armpits too. And then opening the eyes, lifting the knees, and to come out of the posture, just rolling over onto one side and easing up. So now we're getting ready to move into Baddha Konasana, the cobbler. Bringing the knees to a bent position, feet flat on the floor, and then just walking the heels back as comfortably close to the body as possible. If you do have tight hamstrings or find sitting with the spine straight uncomfortable, you may want to sit on a block here. So bringing the hands around the feet, keeping the heels close into the body, and bringing the soles of the feet together as you open the knees. So just holding around the front of the feet. And just doing some very easy movements with the breath. So breathe in, lift the knees, keeping that back nice and straight, chest open. Breathing out, lower the knees. So we're doing this softly with the breath. We're not bouncing the knees up and down. Do this a few times. It's really opening, again, very opening into the pelvic region. Increasing the energy flow, the blood flow around the reproductive organs. And releasing and opening any tightness and constriction in this region. And ultimately, opening the feet like the pages of a book, bringing the knees down to the floor. And you can keep that gentle movement going if you want to. And ultimately, just resting in the final position for a few breaths, keeping the back straight. Lifting the knees when you're ready. Just easing out one leg, easing out the other leg. And then we may just want to finish off with a seated wide leg forward bend. So again, taking the legs as wide as possible, making sure that you're sitting on the seat bones, nice straight back. And just start to walk the hands forwards. See if you can get the elbows onto the floor. And see if you can take the spine down onto the floor. Breathing into the pelvic area. Coming up whenever you're ready. And just getting ready for the final few movements. So next we're going to do supported bridge posture, which serves to really stretch the uterus, said to act as an irritant for fibroids and to stop them growing. Very opening as well for the pelvis, just a generally good posture for a healthy menstrual cycle. So you need a good bolster, either with another bolster crossed beneath it or a cushion like I've got here, and a blanket rolled, folded on top. So we need quite a bit of height, depending on our body. Also, we're going to place the head on the floor here, but you can also use a cushion or a folded blanket for an extra bit of support if it's too much of a stretch without it. So we need to take the body onto the bolster so that we can drop the head down and rest the head on the floor, taking the arms back, elbows bent, so just a loose, comfortable posture with the arms. And then extending the legs out one by one. So we're supported in a very opening back bend posture. And just resting here probably for up to 5 minutes really. Again, to mention the fact that you may need a folded blanket or cushion beneath the head if this feels too much of a drop for the head and neck. But otherwise, just taking the time to breathe in to the pelvic area, closing the eyes, just feeling the body starting to release and let go with the breath. Feels very opening, really real stretch across the pelvic area. Almost feel the sense of the internal organs being stretched too. Keeping the arms overhead. And holding this final posture for anywhere up to 5 minutes or shorter depending on your body, maybe working up to that. You may need to start off with one bolster and then start building up with folded blankets, second bolster, etc. You may want to pause the video now to keep holding the posture. But otherwise, bending knees. And we're going to come out of the posture by rolling over onto our side. Just slowly rolling off the bolster onto the side of the body. And then pushing up carefully from that. As a nice counter pose to the supported bridge posture, we're now going to do a modified version of child's pose known as tiger in the tree. So we can do this with or without a bolster. If you want to use a bolster, it works like this. So we take a kneeling posture, and as we spread the knees wide about mat width, we keep the big toes together at the back of the body. So the buttocks are in direct contact with the seat bones. Bringing the bolster close into the body, if you're going to use a bolster, and then just folding forwards over the bolster and bringing the head onto the bolster, resting the cheek on one side or another. And just holding this posture softly, breathing into it, swapping, turning the head to one side or another just to rest out each side. So you can either do it with a bolster or without. Same posture for the legs, same position for the legs. And this time we're just walking the hands forwards into a full stretch, taking the forehead all the way down to the floor and resting here. Nice counter pose to the back bend which we've just held for a while. Very calming for the nervous system and mind. Feeling the breath moving in the back of the body, the back heart. Consciously releasing any tension in the abdominal and pelvic area.